Hi ladies, I am just going to do a 15 to 20 minutes blast bums and tums class. So just a short session to help you feel a bit more toned in your bum and your tum area. So nothing too crazy, but it's helpful for this to have a bolster or a pillow, or you could just use a folded towel underneath your head and then also underneath your shoulders. So you want to have your head a little bit higher than your shoulders. So I'm just going to lie down on my back, head a little bit higher than shoulders. Shoulders are propped, head is propped, knees are bent. This is just so that we can make sure that the base of our rib cage here is not flaring upwards. So sometimes when you're a little bit tighter in the shoulders, we find that the head drops back and the ribs are lifted. So if we prop head, prop shoulders, we can find that the base of the rib cage drops down a little bit. And what we don't want to have is a big gap under our ribs. So if you just take your fingers and you want to have your ribs kind of dropping downwards towards your spine, we still want a little bit of a gap underneath our lower back. So we're not imprinted so that the lower back is hard against the ground. So a little bit of a slidey finger gap under there. And if you put your fingers on your hip bones and on the base of your rib cage, they should be even. And your pubic bone, all of that area is pretty much even. So just to start off with, I'm going to get you to wriggle your jaw, try and consciously loosen it as if you're unwinding the lower jaw away from the upper jaw. And then start to breathe here underneath your armpits into these intercostal muscles between your ribs. So breathe in deeply and see if you can feel almost like you're breathing into gills like a fish. This area is spreading outwards. We want to avoid shoulders lifting for breathing. We want to avoid the chest breathing. Instead, have this kind of it's called 360 breathing, where we feel like we're expanding, tummy out to the sides, and all the breath is flowing into the lower part of the body, not around the shoulders. Good. So if you can feel into the pelvic floor area now, so that as you breathe, it feels like the pelvic floor is kind of expanding, and then as you exhale, you just get this kind of retraction feeling. Expanding, opening, softening, and then retracting inwards. So do a few more of these breaths with our head slightly propped and our shoulders slightly propped, chin drawing back. It's easier to get a little constriction on the back of the throat. And that little constriction helps us to go into the Ujjayi breath. And the Ujjayi breath makes our diaphragm work harder to pull the breath in and press the breath out, almost like an accordion. And therefore, our pelvic floor and diaphragm connection, that natural connection that we have, is just a little bit stronger. We get more of a vacuum through deep pelvic floor and deep core muscles as we just breathe. So be very conscious of where your chin is and the length at the back of your neck when you're doing these focused exercises. All right, start off with, we're just gathering pelvic floor muscles. So it feels like you're stopping yourself weeing and passing wind at the same time. Gathering upwards, zipping up through the vagina, through the cervix, as if you've got high-waisted tight jeans on, right up to tummy button towards the rib cage. And then at the end of the exhalation, you see if you can feel like your waist is cinching in, like you're wearing a corset. And then you just relax. So you breathe out. I'm going to get you to breathe out through your mouth, like you're pursing your lips, blowing out through a straw. Breathe out, zip in and up, and then release out. So just imagine if your tampon had dropped down too low, you're trying to gather it with your vaginal muscles, draw it upwards slightly, and then just keep doing that lift upwards, and then cinch the imaginary corset muscles in, and then release. Now see if you can gather and lift and cinch, and then keep blowing out and hold this contraction. Gathered, cinched, and then release. And as you release, just let your knees drop out to the side. Have a few breaths. Lower belly is soft. Whole area, in fact, is soft. And then come back again. All right, again. So exhalation, like so. Gathering, lift, and cinching in. Gathering, lift, and cinching in. Now bring your toes together and keeping that contraction, that lift. Let your knees drop out to the side. And then do a conscious exhalation. And as you breathe out, feel that contraction and that lift getting even stronger, lifting upwards, and let your knees drift towards each other. But your knees drifting towards each other comes like a split second after you have done the zipping and lifting and then releasing down. Try not to let go completely as you unzip. You're still having a little bit of control, deep core muscles still switched on, but you're imagining that kind of like, imagine a tampon string is just being pulled upwards on that exhale. And again. Beautiful. Just let it go. Let your heels come back down onto the ground. Let everything be relaxed again. Breathe into this area here. And then come to set. Exhalation. Zipping in and up. Corset muscles drawing in slightly. Keep breathing out. To hold this contraction. Now we're adding a slide. Take one foot out and then exhaling, drawing it back up again. I'm just going to leave my toes on the ground. Exhaling, drawing up. It feels like this is zipping up here, releasing down, zipping up, releasing down. A little bit stronger, stays on. A little bit stronger, stays on. Come back and relax. Soft belly, breathing into the side here. A couple of nice relaxed breaths. In fact, as you exhale now, just try and loosen your jaw again. Sigh the breath out. And then switching on. Corset muscle switching in, and then the other foot, sliding, 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 sliding. Good. Make sure your lower back doesn't start to arch. If it does, just come back to this neutral, pause, relax, and then just switch on. So there's nothing exciting on the outside, but inside it's all going zip and zip. And then you're relaxing it all. And then zip, and then you're relaxing it all. And you're doing the zip and zip on an exhalation as you blow out, or lots of them. Like so. Stick your heels up towards the ceiling. Roll your ankles around. Now, make your feet nice and flexed. Rub the back of your legs. As you do so, press the back of your pelvis into your mat. So get into those hamstrings. Turn your toes out with your heels together. Rub the outside of your legs. We're just going to use these muscles. We're going to wake them up a little bit. Very good. And then bring your knees in towards your chest, arms out to the sides. Drop your knees slightly to one side, so about a 45-degree angle. And then on a puffy breath out, pursing your lips, draw your knees slightly up and then over to the other side. So in your mind's eye, you are going up and over like a bell curve on one of those graphs, up and over. And it's like you're pulling your pelvic floor and your deep core muscles up and over on that bell curve, up and over. Just a little bit of movement with your knees, but in your mind, it's like you're pulling up and over on that bell curve. We want to get pelvic floor, deep core muscles, and our side waist also working here. And breathing out, like so. Good. Fabulous. Take your feet down. Now, I'm going to take away my bolster here for a moment and this blanket, but I'm going to keep one hand just underneath the head, feet back on the ground. Now, we want to do the exhalation, zipping up, 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 up. Take the head a tiny bit off the ground, pelvic floor engaged, lower belly engaged. Take the other hand and pull it down towards your ankle and then back again. And you do it on an exhalation. And back. Tiny little movement. It's like you're just scrunching the rib cage down towards your hip bone and then releasing. Just one side. Make sure you're breathing out, engaging, zipping up through pelvic floor, deep core muscles, and adding a little bit of movement, getting to the side waist. Good. So we're not pushing our head up. We're just holding it here. We want to keep rib cage and the top of the pelvis here even. So other side, head is supported, chin is drawn back, zipping up, and then adding with little puppy breaths out, reaches down towards the ankle. Like so. Good, and just relax it there. Hands on belly, toes together, knees out, flopping. Breathe from your tummy button downwards into this whole area, and just imagine the whole area is like a big beach ball. So flop out for a moment, take a nice couple of long, smooth, relaxing breaths. We want to soften these muscles we've just been squeezing, pelvic floor, lower belly. Beautiful. And then exhale, take those feet wide on your mat, knees bent, toes going straight forward. Press the heels into your mat in order to let your bum come up off the ground. Just check your glute muscles are switching on. So give them a tap here and then roll back down for a moment. Do a couple of those. Pressing heels into the ground, coming up, rolling back down again. That's it. Up and then down. Nice little massage on the lower back. This time though, come up, squeeze your knees and your thighs together, release them, roll back down, everything relaxes. Press your heels into the ground, come up, squeeze your knees, release them, roll back down, everything relaxes. And again, up, squeeze, release, and roll down. Coming up, squeeze your knees, release them, and roll back down. Up, squeeze, release, and down. This gets right into those glutes, the adductors, the pelvic floor, the deeper levator ani muscles, right up into your lower belly. That's it. Up, squeeze your knees, release, down. Up, this time let's pulse, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze your knees, release them, roll back down. And again, up, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze your knees. Keep breathing out, little puppy breaths. Up, and release. Two more, up, and release. And one more, and release. Take your right knee into your chest, stretch your left leg out, so we get into the hip flexors, stretch arm up overhead, lengthen fingers and toes away from each other, and then come into a little side stretch here. Big breath, other side, stretch out. Beautiful, little bit of a side stretch here. Very good, and come back. Now this time, feet are going directly forward, and knees are on top of ankles, and feet are just hip width apart. So we want to push the heels away, peel ourselves up off the ground, get our gluteal muscles activating by pushing those heels hard into the ground. Make sure they are switched on. Now you are either rolling back down, bum becomes soft, pushing up, bum becomes active, rolling down, releasing, exhaling, coming up, activating. Yeah, so this is stage one. You can then, if you want to, go on to stage two. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, feet towards each other. Shoulders a little bit closer as well. Palms pressing down for support. Pressing heels into the mat for the moment, so both glutes are active. Now, try pressing just your left heel into the ground and lifting that right knee up and then down, and doing puppy breaths. Lifting, lifting. You want to keep those hip bones here nice and even. Keep pressing down through that left heel, so the left glute, left bum is really working. And you're squeezing upwards, getting into your lower belly. Like so. Peel down, one vertebra at a time, slow, couple of breaths. Everything's just been nice and soft and relaxed here. Make sure your shoulders haven't inched up towards your ears. Other side, push the floor away, slowly peel your bum up off the ground, shoulders Drawn a little bit closer, palms pressing into the ground for support. Press that right heel into the ground, and then lifting the left knee and tapping, exhaling and exhaling. Good. Keep making sure that you're not tilting off to the side. If you find yourself tilting, then go back to just coming up and down with both heels on the ground. Good. And slowly rolling down. Come up, take your knees apart and do big circles. Nice big releasing circles. One direction and then the other direction. Fabulous. Knees into chest, arms out to the side. Drop the knees over to one side, looking over the other shoulder, getting a nice stretch now into those obliques. Lower belly is soft. Breathing in as you exhale, let those shoulders become very relaxed into your mat. Make sure this area is getting a lot of breath. Spreading the knees up and over to the other side. Lovely deep breath in and out. Good. One ankle on top of the other ankle. Bring the knee in. Stretch out those glutes that we've just been squeezing. So we want to release them so that we can do more of this tomorrow. You can just do this again and again and again, but we do need to make sure we get a stretch in as well. Get the jaw loose, get the shoulders soft. Exhale with a nice loose jaw now. So we're not doing our activating breath. We're doing our sighing out breath to get these guys nice and released. You might even do a tap around there, one side, then the other side. That's good. I'm just going to massage my ankles around as well. Any opportunity to get some mobilization of the ankle. Lovely jubbly. Okay, sliding yourself out onto tummy now to stretch out those tummy muscles. Tops of the feet on the ground, forearms on the ground, stretching yourself forward, lengthen the tummy muscles. Sphinx pose. We're just going to drop one shoulder and then the other shoulder. Release, release, release. And then a lovely extended child pose. Shoulders rolling away from the ears, sitting bones nice and wide. And then knees nice and wide here, releasing into the inner thigh muscles. So this is a frog pose just to release into those inner thigh muscles. Fantastic. Letting belly be nice and soft. So there we go. Just a 20-minute session.